Welcome back, everybody. Here we are again. I'm about to reload some of this 223 stuff for our 24-inch barrel. Kind of going over some of what we have done and do know already. Last time we were doing ladder tests on the 77 grain and the 80 grains, and kind of got an idea what they were doing. The 80s were looking like they were kind of happy, had a little happy zone there that we wanted to look at. So I did kind of revisit that. I shot a couple of powder loads in there, and with the 22.8s I got this nice little group here with one flyer. Now the brass I've got is just a bunch of scrounged up Lake City brass. I have kind of gone over them a little bit, but I haven't really culled anything. So I marked that shot, marked the back of that case with a black marker on there, so I can kind of keep track of that piece of brass to see if that's what was going on there. But that was kind of a nice little group. Still, I wasn't real happy with the speeds. You know, we're about 25.5 feet per second on there, so that's not really something in my realm of what I'm trying to achieve with this thing. So I moved on and actually did another ladder test where we pulled the charge up. We finished off in the last one at 24, and this one I started at 24 and went up to 25 grains. Here's the 77s. They ran up and they kind of had a nice little spot in there that was looking pretty good, then went on up. The 80s, where I had the nice little spot down here, kind of come up. I had a little bit of a flat spot in there, then boom, it shot up. The 80s, at 25 grains of Varget, I got up to 28.18 feet per second. The 77s, with 25 grains of Varget, I got up to 28.24. I'm not real sure how common that is, but it is a rather long barrel, so it does have a lot of push going behind it. But that looked kind of interesting right there. Here's the target layout for that I was shooting. Of course, I used the same point of aim. I got a nice little cluster right in there, which is right in there. And the 80s didn't quite kind of stick together. I'm not real sure about that, but right now I'm kind of back to being impressed with the 77s. So I'm thinking we're going to try to load up something right in there, something right on that little plateau, and see what we can get those guys to do. Okay, I think I've figured out what I'm going to do here with this 223. I'm going to try to load up some of these 77 grains. I've picked a nice little spot on my chart here where I want to try to look here for a load. I'm actually going to start with 24.3, 24.4, 24.5, and 24.6. Load these little puppies up with those. I'm going to do 5 of each and see what kind of grouping we can actually get out of that stuff, and do a little closer test on what their standard deviation is on them. But I wanted to kind of talk about the setup I'm using to load these things here. I've got this Lee universal deprimer. This is basically what I use to deprime my brass, and then I'll throw it all in the tumbler and get it all cleaned up. I don't like to dump all that dirt and stuff into my dies as I'm using them, so I'd really like to kind of have them clean before I load them up, and you can't do that with primers in them, so I deprime them, and all that does is deprime. I'm using this RCBS small base die sets. They're X dies, and I guess basically it's designed to where it alleviates trimming the length, and actually taken it apart and looked in there. There's basically a step in there that actually holds it down. So you're supposed to start off by trimming all your brass to a certain length below the standard, and then when you size them with this, it's supposed to keep your neck length from growing as much, and we'll see how that actually works. But that's what they're all sized with, and it is a small base, so it does pull down on these things. These were once fired out of somebody else's rifle, so I wanted to make sure they fit in mine. West Desert Shooter on the internet there, YouTube, had some issues, and that kind of helped teach us a lesson before we actually went there. So we went with the small base die set. The bullet seeder I'm using is one of Hornaday's bullet seeders, and it's got this little plunger on there. You can actually helps guide everything up before you seat it on there. And of course I'm trying to keep everything in there as straight as possible. So this is what I'm currently using for the 223s, and that's from Hornaday. So it's kind of a mix match set there, but looks like it's working so far. Right, here we are today. I'm going to try some of those loads on that 223 Wylde. I've got four loads we're going to shoot today: 24.3, 24.4, 24.5, 24.6, and we're going to shoot 5 of each and see what kind of grouping we're going to get out of these things. Going hot. And that was 24.3. Alright, here we are back in the shop. I wanted to show you the results that we had with our 223 Wylde, that big old long heavy barrel. We kind of had an interesting day. The gun didn't shoot too awful bad. We've got a few little groups out of here. Of course, this one was the first group we shot, and I ended up with the average speed of 27.48 feet per second with that one. The standard deviation was 12 with an extreme spread of 28, but we had that nice little flyer right there. The second round we shot at, they're still stringing on me, and I had a flyer out of there. That was with 24.4 grains. Had a standard deviation of 8 with all that, and that was 27.63 feet per second. Extreme spread of 20. Next load up was our 24.5. That had an extreme spread of 19. And this group was actually starting to form a little different. The others were kind of straying. This one was a little different. That one there I marked bird, because as I was pulling down on the trigger, bird appeared in my scope right at the same time the shot was going off, so I marked that one bird. Still, I don't know. That extreme spread was 19. Or extreme spread was 48 with a standard deviation of 19, and the speed was 27.89 feet per second. Our last one had a standard deviation of 19 with an extreme spread of 52, That was our 24.6 grain load, and they were traveling at 2782 feet per second, so it actually averaged a little bit slower than this one. And there again, the group was trying to spread out more than the other ones were stringing. So all these groups, even with the flyers, will actually measure in right at an inch or under an inch, so that's not too bad. Still not quite what I'm looking for. I need to get somewhere into this range and get rid of that stringing. And my goal is for this gun to get it down to a third of an MOA. So 0.333 of an inch is where I'd like to be grouping these things for what I'm going to try to achieve with it next. But that was actually not bad looking for our, following off our ladder test. And that was our sweet spot in there. But shooting these guys right out of the gate at the 24.3 really kind of makes me wonder what's in front of it. So I'm going to go back at this again. I'm going to load up another 5 of these. I'm probably going to load up another 5 of the 0.2, drop it down below that a little bit. And with this 8 deviation, I'm definitely going to load up another one of those and shoot them all again and compare everything and see what's going on. The flyers have always been a concern of mine. You shoot something like this and bang, one goes out. Bang, one goes out. Bang, one goes out. And another one out. It always kind of makes me wonder what's exactly going on there. So that's going to put me on a quest. A quest for flyers. And we're going to see if we can't figure out why we're getting these flyers. So stay tuned. I'll let you know what this other load stuff does, and hopefully you enjoyed the target cam on that, and I will be doing more of those in the future.